Okay, so I'm going to make a connection that I haven't seen anyone else make, and we as black people have been ignoring. And I know you're all seeing this and wondering what the hell do all these have to do with each other? Bear with me. So we're going to start with the Mormon Church, right? So the Mormon Church believes, like this is their actual belief, that in the heavenly times there was a war between God and the devil. And God, on his side, he had angels and a bunch of humans with him. And the devil, on his side, he had demons and a bunch of humans with him. And the war happened, and God and the angels came out victorious. And God cast the devil to hell. He sent him to hell. He sent the demons that were with him to hell. He kept the angels in heaven and sent all humans to earth. Now, the humans that sided with the devil, God chose to curse them and their descendants with black skin to mark them for who they are, for what they did, for siding with the devil during the heavenly wars.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. In case you're new here, my name is Maren.
And I'm Maureen.
Yeah, so a lot of the black people in America usually ask, why is it that when law enforcement is dealing with the black population, they normally feel the need to use excessive force? And they further on go to ask, why is it that when it comes to law enforcement in America, it normally feels like black lives don't matter?
Yeah, so today we found a very interesting video on TikTok where a black American brother was trying to explain his reasoning behind white people and their psychology, and especially white people in law enforcement.
Right. Guys, let us know what you think about this episode in the comment section. Also, for those ones who have not subscribed, kindly remember to do so. And for those ones who have a relationship with the practice of Mormons, please let us know whether the things that our brother is about to mention, let us know if it has some truth to it. So let's watch this and then we come back and talk about it.
That is the Church of Mormon. Black skin was the curse. That is us. Black people, Africans, African people, African Americans, Caribbeans, Jamaicans, Grenadans, even the me no black, me Dominican, even y'all too. So that was the curse that God gave those people for siding with the devil. That is the actual belief of the Mormon Church, Nara Smith's church. Then in 1997, a faction of them broke off because they started to believe that black people can indeed be redeemed. That's how Nara Smith's that's how she came up to be. Basically, I don't know which one of her parents is black, but I'm guessing, the church decided that there are black people that can be redeemed. So now there's a faction that believes that, there's a faction that does not. Now, where am I going with this? The Mormon Church, one thing a lot of us do not know is, look this up. This is not conspiracy. The FBI, the CIA, Homeland Security, our internal armed forces, police forces, all our internal armed forces, not our military. Something between 65 to 85% of them are Jesuit Mormons, like Jesuits and Mormons. Fordham University graduates, they all end up in government, all these. So yeah. The FBI, I think about 65 to 75% of the FBI are Mormons. They actively recruit these people. Our law enforcement agencies go to look for these people and actively recruit them, right? So we have this. So now we have an internal armed police force in the United States that is made up of a group of people that genuinely believe from the bottom of their soul, like this is their spiritual belief, that stopping black liberation is an act of God. These are people that believe that black unity, black people coming together and rising is going against their Lord and Savior. This is something as black people in America we always keep trying. How do I explain this? You don't try to peel a banana or peel an orange with a chainsaw. Like, we actively have been trying to fight a system using the wrong tools. You can't protest your way out of this. You can't policy your way out of this when you have an entire law enforcement agency of multiple agencies that consist of people who believe that we are descendants of people who worked with the devil. That's all I'm saying here is we, as black people in America, we protest, we do this, we want to change laws. We keep forgetting, or we do not acknowledge that at the core of it, the people who have the pews, who face us, who deal with us on a daily basis, who have the laws on their side, who have the funds to infiltrate, to do whatever it is they need to do, is made up, more than 70% of them are people who believe stopping black liberation is an act of God. Now, if you have people with this belief, let me ask you a question. Do you think these people will value the life of a black person the same way they will value the life of anyone else? No. The life of a black person is that of a descendant of someone who helped the devil. Unless we as black people start acknowledging this and start doing something, like, we're trying to go against a system. There's a wrench. It's like a bolt, right? That's been put in place. That's the system. We're trying to undo it using a screwdriver when we should be using a wrench. Does anybody get the analogy I'm trying to make here? Is we are not even acknowledging the root of the problem here. Is our law enforcement agencies, vast majority of these people genuinely believe that keeping us where we are at the bottom of society is a spiritual act, and they will get rewarded in heaven for this shit. So, does anybody understand what I'm trying to say here? The situation in America goes deeper. Everybody keeps saying, yes, it's a spiritual thing, but no one acknowledges just how spiritual this is. It's a spiritual fight, yes, and a physical one, but we're dealing with a society who has its local armed militia, if you want to call them that, who believe that we are descendants of people who collaborated with the devil. You cannot protest your way out of that. Thanks for this. I'm making a video in your comment because you're a former Mormon and you're confirming this. But the thing that I find interesting is the number of Americans. When I say everybody, like every non-black person basically knows of this, and the number of black people who don't know this is just mind-boggling. Like, black people have no idea about this, but when you sit down and you understand this, then everything starts to make sense. Then policing in America makes sense. Then FBI going after the Black Panthers, or going after MLK, or going after Malcolm X makes sense. The CIA constantly destabilizing African countries makes sense, because all of these things, all of these acts, these people are doing these things. For them, it's a religious act. They genuinely believe, like, you have people in the CIA trying to subvert growth in an African country, trying to create problems. They genuinely believe they will get rewarded in heaven for this, because this is a religious act. Because black people rising, they see whatever is going on, the turmoil, whatever life black people have in the world right now, they see it as it's a punishment handed from God for siding with the devil. So black people trying to unite, trying to get out of this situation, they see it as us going against God. We're going against the punishment that God gave us, and it is their spiritual right to stop that from happening. And the amount of black people who don't know this has been actually mind-boggling. But yeah, holy shit.
So guys, welcome back. Let us know what you think about the episode. And I feel like this makes a lot of sense, because if, as the brother explains from the video clip, if they get their law practitioners from these groups of people, you'd understand why they behave the way they behave towards the black community and people of color, because
Right.
you guys, let me tell you, if you find a religion that practices cult-like activities, those people are normally programmed so deep that before you get them out of the mindset that they've been brought up with, it becomes very, very challenging.
Yeah, and just like Christianity has its own extremism, just like Islamism has its own extremism, I think that those who practice Mormon religion, this is the side of extremism in that religion, because how can you believe that doing atrocities to a certain group of human beings or a certain race is equivalent to you doing God's work, and that is the only way you feel like you are servicing God and you'll be accepted in the kingdom of God.
I
by
feel like
killing people.
it's because of what they've been taught. Because if you look at it, the brother says that the way what they're taught is that God had a misunderstanding with Satan, and God had humans on his side,
and the humans happen to be
white.
white. By the way, you guys, like the audacity.
Moving forward, he also says that according to those teachings, the devil also had humans that were supporting him,
and
when
these humans happened to be black people.
Right.
They were cast to be black people.
Right.
And I bet this is the very same group that what is it called, that perpetuated that Jesus was white and the devil was black.
Guys, I can't even tell you how many times here in Africa we had to watch movies that showed the devil as black with red horns. I don't know if that image sounds familiar for everybody who's watching this episode. The devil usually was portrayed as black and had red horns.
Even now, if you go to the villages of Africa, not only Kenya where we come from,
I feel like we should try and do this for them.
If you go to the villages of Africa and then you present a devil who is white with white horns and a Jesus who's black, Africans they will say you're blaspheming anyway.
You're committing blasphemy.
Yeah, Africans, a lot of them, Africans believe that the devil is black and Jesus and God are white people, and this is why this is the
There's
result.
a lot of self-hate in Africa. You find that black people are choosing to bleach their skins. Black people are, worshiping white people. When they come to Africa, they view them as their saviors, And I feel like this makes a lot of sense because there are some things that happen, like the case of George Floyd, and he's not the only one. When we were following that case, for someone to tell you that they're not breathing, you just have to be human enough there's a certain level of force you can use against someone you believe to be a criminal, but not to the point that your force is costing the person his life,
Right, because what he's explaining about Mormons, I feel like that is the way the Americans usually like to portray all of Islam as terrorist religion. I feel like that is usually unfair, but Mormonism should be categorized as a religion of terrorists.
So you guys, you can imagine if that is how, according to what this brother is saying, if that is where they get their FBIs, if that is where they get their CIAs, guys, CIA is like an organization without a soul, Someone is literally trained. It's like turning off their humanity.
Growing up, they've been taught that black people don't equate to anything, and then it further gets reinforced when they grow up by being trained to kill those very people
to be in
who
law
are not
enforcement.
humans.
They're given the power, and they're also given a weapon to carry out whatever they believe they're doing, the cleansing for God,
Yeah, and when he said that Mormons are taught to separate black people and to never let them reunite, I feel like I really believe this point where he said that, because can you see back in I think just after the civil wars and all of that, when they were burning down black neighborhoods, when black people would come together to talk about their civil rights and whatnot, they'd be gassed or killed, and usually America has a very big problem with black people, especially when they try to congregate in order to better themselves,
Right.
So they feel like they're fighting a holy war for God. And it is because of these very same teachings that I believe you'll find when a black person versus a white person goes missing, black people, it usually takes a lot of time for law enforcement to even pay attention to their case, because deep down, if they've been wired to believe that black people are the proximity of the devil, they wouldn't want to help the devil and anger their God, And that is why you'll also find when they believe that black people have committed a crime, even without evidence, they will nab that black person, especially if the crime is believed to be against a white person, Black people will always suffer for that. And it's because they're teaching them these outrageous beliefs that black people used to be the devil's helper.
And you guys, let me tell you, brainwashing is such a serious thing that I feel like it's not only manifesting in religion, like these moments, what the brother is saying, what they do, right? Brainwashing also goes so deep into, there's a reason why white supremacists exist, and there's a reason why white people feel like they're above all races. That is also a form of brainwashing, because if you can't celebrate black excellence because you believe black people were not made to be anything or to ever become anything good, it's why you'll find in a corporate, let's say in a corporate environment, and then a black woman or a black man dares to be intelligent and rich enough to get themselves to a point where they get to enjoy the services and things and privileges that white people do. That person, you'll find, if they live in a majority white community, that person will always have problems despite the status they hold in society. You find like there was a video I was watching on TikTok where this black man was a lawyer, all right, and he was living in a very fine neighborhood, and the neighborhood in which he was living was white dominated, So one day he was taking his trash out, and then there was a police car passing, a patrol car, and he just randomly stopped. He didn't even think that if this man is taking out trash, that he could be living there, he could be a tenant there, So he got out and then he started hustling the guy, asking him for his ID, but the guy, remember, is a lawyer and he knew how to defend himself. He was like, look, you don't want to do this because I'm a lawyer and I know my rights. So do you have any probable cause for asking me to identify myself for my ID, or is it because you are racially profiling me? It's because they believe black people can never be anything good, they can never amount
to be anything good.
Exactly. So you guys, I mean, I don't know, you let us know what you think about this episode. I'd really like to hear from someone who is or who has practiced the religion of Mormons. I'd like to know from your perspective, and let's educate each other. And for black people, did you always used to know this? Because the brother mentioned something about black people have always been knowing.
No, he said black people don't know most of these things.
Really?
It's only known in the white majority. Yeah, they teach it amongst themselves, but black people don't. That's why they don't understand why they're being ganged down and beaten and brutalized by police or any of this organization. It's because many black people, when he did this, he realized many black people don't know these pieces of information.
And you guys, when we say black people live in their minds rent-free, imagine just creating a group, sitting them down, and the topic of every day is black people this, black people that, black people
they're just
this.
like, when you see this black person looking like this and that, remember they're the devil's assistant, which is quite funny because when you come to the black community, and it's even written in the Bible, but anyway, when you come to the black community, that is where you find the true Israelites, Hebrew Israelites and all of that. And when you come down to Africa, that is where you find human beings originated from, and that is where you find our forefathers were black, and they gave birth to these white people who are now congregating in a small barn where a horse used to
and then you guys, when they normally call black people barbarics, they normally say how violent black people are, and I'm looking at them and I'm like,
they're the barbarians.
They're the barbarians, and these same people are the people who have a long history of violence,
colonizing everything and everyone they find in their way,
creating
they're the
new
true barbarians.
races.
If you should ask who the true devil's assistant is,
you know the
answer. They've been walking around the earth trying to colonize everything that's not theirs, promoting culture that human beings don't practice in,
shouldn't, because they do practice, but they shouldn't.
Yeah, because
anyway,
the proof that white people are more barbaric than black people. Do you know what the proof is? When you want to see this, Just imagine, don't even imagine, just go and buy movies that depict medieval times. You know, medieval times, the Vikings and the whatnot. That is how they used to live, going around pillaging and
Plundering.
and raping women. Here in Africa, if you get videos of, from way back when, you'll get videos of these same people coming to conquer Africa. And if it's not videos of these same people coming to conquer Africa, you'll find videos of Africans learning agriculture from each other, trading technology in terms of agriculture, in terms of culture, in terms of, well, aside from slavery too, because slavery was everywhere, but Africa didn't have this. Well, anyway, guys, you get the point I'm trying to say.
Yeah, so let us know what you think about this episode. As usual, we thank you so much for joining us. Catch us on our next episode. For those who have not subscribed, kindly consider doing so. Let's see you on our next episode.